My uncle, Ronald L. Martin, was born in 1949. He grew up in Portland, Oregon, and currently lives in Phoenix, Arizona, with his wife, Regina Martin, and his 2 dogs. This is his Vietnam story. My uncle was only 18 years old when he was drafted into the war. He was a freshman at Multnomah Bible College.
Well, I was in college, and I got hurt, and I was one of the 2 freshmen that made the college basketball team. And I got hurt in a game in December at homecoming and hurt my back, and we were on a semester system, so I could not, I finished that semester, they allowed me to, but I could not sign up for the next semester, so I stayed out a semester. And that was the end of 1967 going into 68. Well, back then, if you just looked wrong, you lost your deferment, your student deferment, and I was getting drafted.
Oh, okay.
So I lost my student deferment and they went down to the induction center. Well, I took my records in from the hospital that I had a bad back, and the guy, kind of snickered at me and said, "Well, you walked in here, didn't you?"
Oh.
And next thing I know, I got my draft notice. Well,
as we all know, the Vietnam War was a hard time for society. Many citizens did not agree with the practices that were going on across the sea. Here is one story that my uncle recalls about when he arrived home from his time overseas.
And I got home early. My folks didn't know I was home. I was a little bit early, and they were yelling at you when I got into Portland, got spit on. We were like the traitors, just terrible. Now, you're a hero if you're in the service.
Absolutely.
But back then you weren't.
Every soldier had a specific job to help the war effort. When asked what his job was, here is what my uncle said.
Well, what I was trained to do was communications, supply. So all the communication, radios, all that kind of stuff. I was in what they call the 4th Supply and Transportation Company of the 4th Division. And that was up in Pleiku, a place called Camp Enari. That's Enari. Pleiku is up in the Highlands.
My uncle recalls the fact that when you are so scared for your life, you hallucinate during the night. While on the war front, he recalls one of the scariest experiences he went through.
But if you discount it, it could be somebody. I remember being on an ambush patrol, and the MVA soldiers were coming right up through this one path, and we couldn't. We were trying to stay low because there was just 7 of us, and there was a whole patrol coming. So we were staying there and you could see the movement, and they walked right by us. It was raining, the monsoon season, so luckily they didn't see us, but it was not good.
The Vietnam War left my uncle with many experiences that affect the life that he lives today. When I asked him about the specific effects that the war has had on him, he replies that
I have a problem today.
Yeah.
That's been a long time ago with not that I try to be prejudiced, I can't hardly go into an Oriental restaurant, an Asian restaurant, even if it's not Vietnamese, just because of the spices and the smells and stuff. And I love, I grew up, my mom made, sweet and sour chicken, and she'd make chop suey and all that kind of good stuff. But, certain spices, well, after I came back to Vietnam, I can't even go in those places. I will do it if I have to, but I won't eat usually in there.
Though the Vietnam War did have impacts that were negative on my uncle, one positive impact was that he met one of his lifelong friends, David Hardiker, in Vietnam.
Up there who he and I met in the induction center, and we went to basic training and advanced training in Vietnam together. Now we got split up in Vietnam, but we were sitting side by side on the plane. So we were both talking.
One of the most traumatic experiences that my uncle recalls is his experience with the weapon Agent Orange, a chemical used by the Vietnamese.
They take us in a chopper out to a certain area. We'd land, and then we'd be out for 3 to 5 days. And I remember walking out, and all of a sudden the planes came over and dumped all this stuff on us. And we thought, man, that stuff's not good. We don't know what this is. We didn't know what it was, some type of defoliant. And when we came back to that same landing zone, the LZ, to pick up the chopper about 4 days later, already some of the foliage had started to wilt and go down. And we made comments and wondered what that's doing to us. Well, I don't know if you know this, but when I got my cancer, the Veterans Administration, I'm fully disabled from Agent Orange. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is what I have, is one of the cancers that the Supreme Court in 2003 or 2001, one of those years, finally came back and said that if you were in country in Vietnam within these certain time frames, then and you contracted one of these types of cancers, then it's a done deal. You have full disability.
I am happy to announce that today my Uncle Ron is currently in remission from his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer caused by the Agent Orange that he was exposed to while in Vietnam. He is living a happy life. He loves to ride his motorbikes and spend time with his family and dogs. When asked to remark about his experience in the war and the time period the war went through, he says,
we got ourselves into that mess. It was going to be a policing action. It really was a quote-unquote a war. But, pretty soon we just, we just beat ourselves, basically.
Also, my uncle replies that
people hated Vietnam. People hated soldiers. It was a bad time to be a soldier.
When will they ever learn? When will they?